7 exercises with some kind of unusual mentality behind them. Hey guys, Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and I got something completely different for you today. If you're bored with doing kind of the traditional resistance training, like at the gym or lifting weights at home, today's video is about carrying exercises, meaning carrying something heavy. So carrying exercises are basically when you're carrying anything heavy for a relatively long distance, and it's typically really heavy, and you can carry it for a distance or for a time. So it doesn't matter really how you design, each set. It could be for a certain number of seconds or for a certain number of steps. It doesn't matter. It's just carrying something heavy. And the reason these are completely different from everything else is that they really force your body into some kind of awkward positions, and because it's really heavier weight than you're normally used to using for, like, saying bicep curls or triceps or shoulders or something like that, it forces you to use a lot of muscles that you're not typically using, where you're doing really controlled, very specific exercises designed to hit just a certain muscle group. So carrying exercises are great for overall strength, your core, your balance, your grip strength, and your cardiovascular, okay? So lots of things can be improved with these different exercises, and I've selected 7 different carrying exercises, and I keep using this air quote because it just, it's not really that different from doing some of the other exercises that I've designed and you guys have seen us do over the years, but I'm doing it outside because typically I like being able to do this over, a nice distance. If you're doing it inside, you can, but you'll end up walking around in circles, either in a single room, or maybe you can walk from room to room inside your house. It's really up to you, but man, it's just a gorgeous day. And so I've decided to shoot today's video outside. All right, the first exercise is called a farmer's carry, and I see people doing this at the gym. I happen to belong to a really big gym. I mean, it's got long walkways, and it's perfect for doing a farmer's carry. And basically, you're just picking up a really heavy weight. These are as heavy dumbbells as I got. And you just start walking, basically like a farmer carrying a bunch of heavy stuff around the farm. And once again, you could do this, for a timed amount, or you can do it for a certain number of steps. And then, of course, guys, it's also going to depend on how heavy a weight you got. So these are 50-pound dumbbells, and that doesn't sound all that heavy. Let's say I was doing bench press with these. That would be no big deal. But man, just walking around with this stuff, your grip strength is really starting to wear you. And man, I can really feel it in my biceps and my shoulders. And so just walking around with that. Now remember, 50-pound dumbbells, I'm really carrying 100 pounds, okay? You got to remember to multiply it by 2. But that is just the first of 7 different exercises. All right, the second exercise is called a suitcase carry, and it's basically a farmer's carry except for one hand, okay? So basically, I'm just picking another heavy weight, but man, I think this is actually harder, even though I'm carrying half the weight overall, because I'm so off balance here. And so this exercise, more so than the farmer's carry, is really causing me to flex my abs and my core. And of course you can't see it, but all the muscles in my core, all the way around my back and in my abs, are really stressing right now. And of course, you do this for a certain amount of time or number of steps, and then we just put it down, change hands, and do it all over again. So guys, suitcase carry is something, I know this sounds goofy, but I used to travel a lot and spend a lot of time sitting around at airports. You get there 2 hours early. You got nothing to do. Well, when I was feeling particularly fat and out of shape and hadn't been exercising, I would walk up and down in between the gates at the airport, and instead of rolling my suitcase behind me, I'd pick it up and I'd carry it like this. And it's not nearly as heavy as this, but man, it adds up. You carry that suitcase around an airport for 30 or 40 minutes, you'll feel it. All right, the third exercise is called a rack carry, and it comes from the squat rack at the gym. And you know how you have a barbell and it's about its shoulder height here, okay? And you can put it, on your back and carry it around, or you could actually just walk up to it and pull it off the hooks, off the rack, and hold it like this. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's called a rack carry. And you can do this two-handed or one-handed. And this is tough, guys. So, oh man, this is heavy. I probably picked too much weight. That was the same weight I had for the farmer's carry. I probably need to lower it by 10 or 15 pounds, but man, that'll really get you out of breath. Once again, all the muscles, okay, in my upper body are tensed up in my core because I'm having to balance 100 pounds up here, at shoulder height. Also, man, as you can tell, I'm out of breath. It's really starting to affect my cardio. All right, the fourth exercise is just called an overhead carry. It's also called a waiter's carry. And you could do this two-handed or one-handed. Now, I did lower the weights. Okay, so this is a rack carry. This is an overhead carry. It's also called a waiter's carry. I think it's really called a waiter's carry more if you're just doing it one-handed. Okay, but, whew, oh man. Man, this takes a lot of concentration here. Let me show you a couple of different variations of that. Okay, this is what I would call the waiter's carry, just one-handed. And I guess it mimics these guys with those big, giant trays carrying food over their head through a crowded restaurant. Except I can't remember the last time I saw a waiter carrying it up here. I usually see him carrying it down here like this. So this would be typically called a rack carry, and this would be a waiter's carry. All right, number 5, gonna combine them with a mixed rack and overhead carry at the same time. So, get that rack right there, get the overhead. Whew. Let's do it, let's walk. Now, if I was really doing this, guys, and doing a full workout, I would have set up a course in my backyard here, and I would probably walk around these 2 trees over here, and then back over here to the patio, and that would be considered one set. And of course, stop. You're gonna need a breather, at least a minute probably. And then we gotta switch it up, right? We do the rack, waiter's carry on the other side. This is completely different feeling than all the other workouts we've ever done, guys. All right, the 6th version is called a crosswalk. And basically it's a combination of a farmer's carry in one hand and a rack carry in the other hand, okay? So, here we go. And of course, I'm not showing you every single time where I come over here and I switch. And we got to alternate. Remember, we got to do the other side now. Oh, baby, shoulder. Woo! And you might be wondering, why am I wearing sunglasses? Well, it's not because it's all that bright. It's because I got eye surgery a few weeks ago. Elective eye surgery. It was fantastic. I got lens replacements. Now I can see 20/20 without glasses. It's fantastic. But I got this real unique type of lens implant. And after 2 months, okay, and I got to really protect my eyes from ultraviolet light during those 2 months. I go back in and they tweak the prescription of the implants just by hitting my eyes with some ultraviolet light. And it'll get my eyesight even better than it currently is. So I can see 20/20 far, and I can see almost perfectly near vision. But after 2 months, they're going to tweak it just by shining some ultraviolet light in my eyes. And it will change the prescription that they implanted by just a little bit to make my eyes a little bit better. And then eventually they will lock that in by hitting my eyes with diffused ultraviolet light. But in the meantime, they don't want any ultraviolet light get in my eyes because they don't want to screw up my prescription. All right, so the seventh and last carrying, that's hard to say, carrying exercise is called a bear hug. And that's why I brought out my old trusty sandbag from a program I developed several years ago called Warrior Strong. It's got 60 pounds worth of sand in it. And basically, you just pick it up and hug it like a bear and walk around. Now guys, this would probably be the easiest, okay, of all the exercises I've done. So you're going to obviously have to go further to kind of make this exercise, you know, equivalent to a lot of those other ones. But if you don't have one of these sandbags, guys, they're pretty cool. You can get them on Amazon, and inside this heavy-duty bag is 6 smaller bags, okay? And I went to Home Depot and bought some sand or some gravel, doesn't matter. And you can fill those individual little smaller bags up roughly 10 pounds a piece. And then you don't have to use all 60 pounds in there. So you can pull out individual 10-pound sacks of sand and only load it up with however much you need. But it's got these cool handles on here, right here and on the ends. And this is really great. We use this for all kinds of different exercises in my Warrior Strong program. But a great way, guys, this feels actually pretty comfortable right there, is, you know, you can just do walks like this, but this is not nearly as good as walking lunges with a sandbag. And there's all kinds of other exercises that I designed, all right, with the sandbag, but that's another video. All right, there you go, 7 exercises with some kind of unusual mentality behind them, but something I think everybody should at least try. It may not be your bailiwick, but a lot of you guys need a change of pace, because doing the same thing over and over, it does get boring. I totally get it. And that's why I'm always trying to come up with kind of creative, different ideas on our YouTube channel. And this is completely different than anything I've done before. And then finally, guys, you got to remember to stick with it and never give up on yourself.